Hello, gorgeous. It is time, yet again, for an episode of Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror films. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And for the meantime, I'm your co-hostess with some of the mostest, Drusilla Adeline.
The mostest. It's not some of, all of.
Just a little bit. Just a small amount. I'm about to have a lot more.
Yes. For those who have not been keeping score, Drusilla is about to be whisked away by the surgery fairies. And
yeah, two men in a white van in white overalls are coming with a big butterfly net to catch me in a little bit and take me back to the asylum.
And when Drusilla breaks free of her chrysalis, yeah, she'll be an even prettier butterfly. How are you? It's very soon. It's like less than a week away.
I leave for San Francisco tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And then 2 days after that, Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. I go under. So it's super soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited.
Yeah.
With every passing day, I get more excited. I've shed entirely what little anxieties and stresses there were related to this. And I am now fully at like a 7-year-old on December 24th at like 9 p.m. Like,
aww.
Christmas cannot come soon enough.
I love that.
I'm so excited. I mean, like, I get to have a like fun little road trip up to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Stopping at the Madonna Inn, which we love.
Mm-hmm. I get to hang out with some of my best friends doing that. I get to spend time in one of my favorite cities in the world with some of my best friends and my mother, hanging out, like, eating healthy food, watching movies, reading books, playing board games, just fucking about. Not having to worry about work, not having to worry about the world, just, like, isolate, like a nice little cocoon. I'm so excited. Like,
I wish I could be there right after, because what I'm imagining is the scene from Female Trouble where they remove Dawn Davenport's bandages in the hospital, and she goes, pretty. And she's surrounded by like trashy but glamorous people who are smoking cigarettes in the hospital.
That's gonna be my post-op date. That's basically what that's gonna be.
Yeah, that's what I imagine it'll be like.
That's how my head is imagining that. However, my current mental state is Rex Reed in the Myra Breckenridge film adaptation, sitting on the operating table as a smoking John Carradine is talking about, are you sure you don't just want a circumcision instead? Once we do this, it won't grow back.
Yeah.
And Rex Reed just snapping his fingers up at John Carradine and being like, come on, Myra's waiting.
Yeah.
that's where I'm
at. That just made me think of the scene. This is accidentally turning into like the big trans episode, the trans jubilee. There's also the scene you made me just remember in Desperate Living where Mole McHenry like robs a surgeon, basically, like sticks up a surgeon, is like, give me a dick right now or I'm gonna take yours.
God, I love
we love a trans outlaw.
The best. I mean, also, like, Pink Flamingos is one of the best trans outlaws ever. For those who have seen Pink Flamingos but don't know the great story behind one of its best scenes, David Lochary spends a lot of that movie flashing random women in the park when he's not also trying to be the worst filthiest person alive. And near the end of the movie, he flashes a woman in the park who turns around and flashes him right back. And that was a friend of John Waters who was about to have bottom surgery like a week later. And she was like, well, as long as it's there, let's immortalize it on film. And now it's in the Library of Congress.
Now, that's Elizabeth Coffey, right? That was her name?
Yeah.
So shout out to a friend's podcast, Michael Verratti and Peaches Christ just did a Female Trouble episode of their show, Midnight Mass. And as a guest, they have Elizabeth Coffey on.
I love that so much. I love Michael and Peaches so freaking much.
Yeah.
A surprise to no one.
Have you managed to do anything cool or see anything cool, or is it just daydreaming about surgery?
I've been just getting myself prepped. I've been getting like all of my like ducks in a row. I've been getting like books ready. I've been getting like I got one of those like CD binders from the 90s to fill with movies to go up with. I bought a cheap $30 guitar at Goodwill recently.
Oh, I saw.
And then I was like, oh, this is like small enough that I could play with it while not like hitting cleavage high. So I could play it in recovery and not be without
hurting yourself.
And hurting myself. And so I like bought some new strings for it. I sanded it down. I spray painted it. And she's gorgeous now.
Yeah, hot pink.
Hot pink.
Angeline.
Super big fan. But yeah, I've just been taking it super easy and watching a lot of schlocky Italian movies. I just received in the mail a new box set from our friends at Arrow Video called Gothic Fantastico.
Oh, I want that.
4 Italian tales of terror.
Gorgeous.
And I started this morning with The Third Eye, a like 1960s contemporary Gothic, starring Django's Franco Nero.
Ooh.
Very young.
Yeah.
And Erica Blank from some of Mario Bava's movies. And it is very much a like post-psycho Italian Gothic of a man whose mother's very domineering, and his mother and his wife are murdered on the same day by his housekeeper who's in love with him, and he loses his mind and starts like keeping his wife's corpse around and like murdering sex workers in the bed with his wife's corpse until his wife's twin sister shows back up, and there's taxidermy and necrophilia and incest.
Ooh,
and it is just a cozy, creepy little 60s black and white Italian Gothic, and it was so much freaking fun. I had a blast with it. I cannot wait to dive into the other movies in this set.
Those Italian, it's always like it's always a man with an overbearing mother and a nagging wife in those movies.
And it's like, always some big Gothic mansion in the middle of nowhere that is like totally decrepit, covered in cobwebs, and they're like, our life is just so almost perfect. If we could only get this one thing right. It's like,
yeah,
no.
I'm just thinking of Hatchet for the Honeymoon, which has that whole thing too.
It gave me big Hatchet for the Honeymoon vibes. It also gave me big The Night That Evelyn Came Out of the Grave vibes.
I've never seen that.
You would love that movie, Josh.
I know.
Joshua, you would love that movie. It was The Third Eye was actually remade by Joe D'Amato in the 80s as Beyond the Darkness.
Oh, interesting. That I have seen.
Yeah. So if you ever want to see a more like chilly Gothic melodrama version of it rather than like a sleazy 80s splatter version of it,
yeah,
The Third Eye is very fun. And Franco Nero is so hot. Like,
isn't the third... Oh, no, I'm thinking of The Evil Eye. I was like, isn't that the other title for... Yeah. But no.
Oh, I was about to like point behind me because that
I don't
poster
remember the
is in my
title.
room at the moment.
I'm blanking on the other
It's
title.
The Evil Eye, The Girl Who Knew Too Much.
The Girl Who Knew Too Much. Yes.
Yeah, the like first Giallo film that Myra Bava made. Yeah. I have the AIP Evil Eye poster on the. I was expecting it to be behind me. Listeners, we're on like a Zoom call, and behind me are like a myriad of movie posters. But I moved it. It's on the other side of the room, so it's out of Josh's sight and entirely out of yours because this is an auditory medium.
It's a listening medium. Have you been watching season 2 of White Lotus by any chance?
I've never seen season 1 of White Lotus.
Well, they're completely disconnected, so you actually don't have to watch season 1 to watch season 2. Although I'd recommend it because it's really fantastic. But season 2 is set at like the White Lotus in Italy. So it's at like a seaside resort in Italy, and it's got a lot of those vibes. It's a dark comedy, so it's more like, I don't know, like Tar or Triangle of Sadness than it is like a Mario Bava movie. But it really touches those Italian glamour buttons that I have.
I remember when the first season came out and everyone was talking about it, and I was just like, rich people on vacation sucking. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, the characters are awful, and that's part of the fun. Mike White doesn't really miss. I mean, he's such a good writer-director.
I mean,
and
School of Rock, Chuck and Buck, like, he is consistently...
I love both of those movies.
Mm-hmm. He's consistently...
Oh, okay, you do too. I was like, are you making fun of these movies?
No. School of Rock is, like, one of the most important films in my life. Like...
Yeah.
No.
Enlightenment was so good, too. He really figured out the HBO model, which is, like, give an auteur a middle-aged actress, put them together in an incubator, and you've got the best HBO limited series of all time.
I haven't seen it. The... Part of the reason I haven't watched the second season is because the key art is so bad.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
The posters and billboards and all the artwork for season 2 is so bad, and I'm just like, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm
fair.
fine.
I mean,
I have
you
been
should
watching...
always judge a book by its cover. So.
Truly, as an aesthete,
always,
I must. I have been watching season 2 of Chucky. And it remains one of the best shows on television. It remains the best Chucky incarnation ever. Season 2 of the show is the best thing Don Mancini has ever done. It only gets better with every episode. They just need to write him a blank check over at Universal to let him do whatever he wants. Let that man keep going forever.
I guess I'm hesitant because I don't care about the Child's Play movies. I guess I would say I feel like medium warm towards them.
But how do you feel about the Jennifer Tilly Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky films?
I don't know which ones I've seen. I've seen the one with John Waters, which I think is the first one
that's
she's
Seed
in.
of Chucky. It's the second one she's in.
Oh, okay.
It's very good.
I remember liking it. I've seen it once when it came out and then never again. So
if you enjoy those, and if you enjoy that kind of like very campy late 90s, very like kind of queer horror vibes and tone, you're gonna love the series. You don't have like, you should probably watch the other 2 Chucky movies that came out recently, Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky, starring Fiona Dourif, because the show, the first season is kind of its own self-contained narrative, and then it starts to bring in elements from all the past Chucky movies into like one big thing. But season 2 is very much like, if you have not seen like Bride of Chucky up through everything else, you're gonna miss out a lot. And Fiona Dourif's performance is incredible. She's one of the best actresses in the world. She's criminally underrated. I love her so much.
Well, I love her father. I saw Brad Dourif once at Chipotle in Echo Park.
I wonder what his order is. Does he get extra guac? I hope so. I love Brad Dourif.
I don't know.
He's so hot.
Well, I went with a big group of friends to see a movie that I'm very late on. And I'm only talking about it because I truly did not watch anything else. I've been reading a lot, and I've been trying to write a novel, so I'm sort of like in book world. But
Terry Pratchett's book world?
Yeah. My mom loves Terry Pratchett. I finally went and saw the movie Smile.
Oh, yeah, that.
I would not be talking about on the podcast if I had seen anything else. Because I did not enjoy it, and neither did anyone I was with. And I feel kind of okay talking about how I didn't like it because it is so popular and has done so well that I feel like I'm punching up. You know?
It has. It's done very well.
It was the number 1 movie in America for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah. It was a really, really big hit.
It's a $17 million budget. Felt like $1 million. The writing is terrible. The acting is terrible. It's a bad movie. And it makes me feel, it's one of those movies that make you feel crazy because you're like, why is this so popular? It's so bad.
Yeah. The trailers, I remember seeing the trailers in theaters before a few things this year. I think I played before Pearl and stuff like that. And I was just like, what? People are excited for this? No.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought the trailer was so bad. And then people
stupid.
started to tweet about how good it is. I think like Phil over at Fangoria tweeted about how much he loved it. You know, like cool people whose taste I trust. Is not good. It is exactly as bad, if not worse, as the trailer led you to believe.
It feels like a bad mid-2000s post-Saw kind of movie in that like kind of Conjuring boom boom jump scare kind of world. And it also narratively just sounds like any episode of any like anthology horror TV show.
It's really like a not as good version of It Follows, essentially, with elements of The Ring.
And I've heard a lot of people both praise it for its depiction and discussions of mental illness, and a lot of people condemn it for its discussions of mental illness, and a lot of other people being like, it's a horror movie. It doesn't owe you anything about mental illness. It's just doing this thing. It's about a curse. It's not about mental illness. Don't bring that into it. And I'm just like, this all sounds lame.
It's very much trying to be about mental illness in the A24 stripe, which people complain about so much, but at least those movies, some of them handle it very well. This is so clumsy and oafish, and it's just a bad movie. There are really excellently crafted jump scares throughout, but like, that can't be a whole movie. Just a series of jump scares isn't a movie.
No, man.
So it's just not good.
That's my whole thing, is like, what's scary about this? People are smiling, and then they pass on a curse, and you die? Okay.
It's literally It Follows.
All right.
Which I love. A movie I like very much. Because
It Follows is done very well, and it was made by an incredibly talented director who was kneecapped by A24. But that's a different discussion. Yeah, like, It Follows is very, like, well-crafted and inventive, and Smile feels like, I don't know, cash-in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It Follows just has gobs of style. Just gobs and gobs of it, and this doesn't really have any.
It Follows really feels like if you took the Arcade Fire album The Suburbs and were like, what if we made a horror film out of this?
Absolutely.
And you did.
Down to the girls' like clamshell e-reader that people went so crazy for at the time. Like,
when I think about It Follows, I just think about the like shot from a car window tracking shots through these suburban houses that was just like, that's exactly what living in my part of Indiana was like. Yeah, and I was like that kind of teenage age when it came out, and like it just hit very specifically. Yeah, like that and The Babadook are incredible, and those came out at a very specific time and handle mental illness and sexual metaphors very, very, very well. And I feel like in the like 10 years since then, a lot of people have felt the need to take their horror concepts and bring those elements into them.
What is this a metaphor for?
And they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I'm among the people who's like, I don't need a tragedy metaphor. Like, I'm okay with a movie that's just about a curse. I think that's great.
Here's my thing.
But
as someone who literally just finished watching a sleazy-ass 60s Italian Gothic movie, and who's been watching a lot of horror movies this year for this podcast, and because this is going to be my last episode for a little bit while I'm about to go on hiatus, I feel like I've reached a point of, like, putting myself through the Bloodhouse ringer all year, and now I have some, like, pearls of wisdom to share with the audience, because we've watched a lot of modern films this year, and I've gone to see a lot of modern horror films this year that I normally don't. So many modern horror films in the, like, post-It Follows, Babadook, A24 ilk, and movies made by A24 and stuff like that, are so misery porn addicted, so focused on bringing out and mining every inch of trauma they can get and putting that on the screen to make a claim at having something to say on mental illness and having something to say to make their film artsy, quote unquote. That is not the requirement to make your film art. Many, many things are art. And in doing so, they make the films sometimes good, sometimes bad, but always not fucking fun and impossible to rewatch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, films are always a reaction to what, you know, it's a move. It's an art form and a movement. And so it's always a reaction. So it wouldn't be so popular if it wasn't done really well. And there was a time in the sort of first half of the 2010s when it was being done really well. The Babadook, Hereditary, all of these movies that did it really well. It's just, we now need to swing in a different direction for a while. And the reason that those were so important at the time is because the decade before was just really trashy, violent torture porn. And so this was like swinging in the other direction. Now we were doing our arty horror movies, sophisticated, quote unquote, all of these things.
That is also part of the reason why subsequently this year the like most talked about horror film has been Barbarian. And one of the most successful horror film for A24 has been Pearl. Because both of those movies are fun as fuck, and they both have a lot to say. They're both artistically have tons of artistic merit. Both are genuinely scary, genuinely gory, super fucked up, and have like solid themes that they like develop and follow through on throughout like every inch of their execution, and are also a fucking hoot to watch.
Totally. I think my spidey senses tell me that that's the direction that we're swinging in for the 2020s. It's going to be about really outrageous, swinging for the fences, fun, but still kind of arty horror films. And I love it, and it's great. I love X, love Pearl, love Barbarian. But I do think it'll get bad, because it always does. You always have to like swing too far and then swing another direction.
Because as long as you're following something else too closely, it's always going to get bad.
Yeah.
You always have to be trying to do something new and something fresh, which we'll talk about very soon with the reason for the season today, with the film we're talking about. So
should we just get into it?
Let's get into it. Let's talk about... Wait. First, I should deliver some warnings taken from the film's poster before we even get into discussions of the film.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Parents, be sure your children are sufficiently mature to witness the intimate details of this frank and revealing film. Warning, the sexual transformation of a man into a woman will actually take place before your very eyes.
Oh, God. Oh, God, no. That's hilarious. We are discussing from 1971 from Hammer Films, directed by Roy Ward Baker. It is Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
Everyone knows there are two sides to the infamous Dr. Jekyll. By day, the man. By night, the monster.
Put a woman in your life, a good woman, and one day you'll wake up and you'll see a changed man.
Now, Hammer believe you too are ready for a change. An absolutely complete change.
This is the testament of Dr. Henry Jekyll, male, male, male.
It's Hyde, isn't it? How is your brother?
He hasn't been himself of late.
This is the new Dr. Jekyll, the most evil woman you'll ever see. This is the sensuous Sister Hyde, the most evil man you'll ever meet.
Stay away from her. She means you great harm.
Why?
I just feel it, that's all.
Now, this is a very special one for Drusilla, who
Why?
has picked this movie. Well, you've
why.
taken your name, Hyde Sister, from this. And when I watched this movie for the first time last night, it was not a mystery to me why
I
loved
chose
this
Sister
movie
Hyde
so
to be
much.
my design brand. Yeah. So, I have seen this movie only a handful of times, but I have seen scenes from this movie at least 1 million times in my life. When I was growing up, Comedy Central would play a movie on like early Sunday mornings sometimes from the early 90s starring Sean Young, called Dr. Jekyll and Ms. Hyde, which is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's a bad early 90s comedy.
Okay.
with basically the same plot as this, i.e. a Dr. Jekyll scenario in which she turns into a woman instead of a vicious killer. And comedy ensues. However, it, like, cracked my little, like, young egg brain to be like, ooh, interesting. Yeah. And when YouTube first became a thing, I remember being like, I remember that. I wonder if I could find clips from that. Is that as weird as I remember it to be? And this came up instead. And the first transformation scene of Dr. Henry Jekyll into from Ralph Bates into Martine Beswick, which is done in one shot. It's achieved with a Texas switch and a fake mirror, and it's incredible. And also very heavy-handed with a great cuckoo clock. I would watch that scene on YouTube on a fucking loop from the age of, like, 11 until I was in college. When I finally saw the movie when I was probably in college. In full. And it's something that since then I kind of was like, you know, I initially chalked it up to like, oh, eggy young, like trans thoughts, like sitting in my brain trying to like figure out why that was so interesting and compelling to me. But then I was like, yeah, but there's like tons of movies that do things like that to a degree. Why was this? Why was this something that why was this the thing I honed in on so much? And it's because of Martine Beswick's performance.
Yeah, she's great.
What this movie does that's like revolutionary as compared to so many other trans films, especially of the era, and other like monstrous trans villain films along the lines of like, you know, for better or worse, Sleepaway Camp, Dress to Kill, Silence of the Lambs, Psycho, all that kind of shit. Is you get the like shuttered, high acting Dr. Jekyll transformation, and you end on Martine Beswick, who immediately rushes up to the mirror to inspect her body, cracks a huge smile, explores her body, and is so happy and proud of herself. She, like, this is one of the rare movies that is a horror film that deals with trans subject matter and does not depict gender dysphoria as in, oh my god, becoming a woman, oh, ick, yuck, awful. It depicts gender euphoria. She is so happy and so excited. And as the film goes on, that only becomes more evident. And the horror of this movie, other than the murder set pieces, which we'll get into, which are gorgeous, the only horror to the transformation scenes are when she's transforming back into Ralph Bates.
Yes, I thought it was such a it really surprised me, that choice. So the first time, listener, that Dr. Jekyll transforms, and we'll get into a synopsis in a second, but the first time he transforms into Sister Hyde, this beautiful raven-haired beauty, he's ecstatic. He like Drusilla said, he runs to the mirror and he's ecstatic, and he very quickly changes back, and he seems bewildered and upset to be changing back. And I thought it was such a interesting choice because I didn't think a movie from 1971 would do that. Now, you could argue story-wise that he's ecstatic because his experiment is working and not because he's a woman, but it doesn't actually feel that way.
It doesn't feel that way.
It feels like he wants to be a woman.
Later scenes throughout the film where we get more of Martine Beswick as Sister Hyde, more of her like revelry in being herself. And even when we get later scenes of Ralph Bates as Dr. Jekyll again, he doesn't want to be Dr. Jekyll. He's walking the streets demure, leaving a corset shop and running into his male neighbor that he mostly knows as being Sister Hyde, and like being like disappointed that he doesn't recognize him. It's heartbreaking. Some of the scenes in this movie and some of the lines of dialogue in this movie. And there's kind of Martine Beswick has a few lines in this movie kind of implying that this Sister Hyde persona was not created by taking this elixir of life.
Elixir of life.
But that she was released by this, that she has been there the entire time. It's great. So, to backtrack a little bit, this movie was greenlit on a pun. By the 1970s, Hammer had kind of run its course with all of their big Dracula films and Frankenstein films.
Yes, this was their third Jekyll film.
Mm-hmm. And 2 in 1 year. Well, no. 2 Jack the Ripper films in 1 year. Because they also made Hands of the Ripper the same year. And their 1960s Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing heyday was very quickly becoming in their rearview mirror. They were not being distributed outside of the UK by major distribution companies like Warner Brothers and Universal and Fox anymore. They were being released by AIP and
which
EMI.
was like drive-in.
Yeah, exactly. So they'd lost a lot of their funding, and they were just like grasping at straws to see what kind of like other genre movies they could quickly turn out. And someone came up with the bit of Dr. Jekyll and not Mr., but Sister Hyde. And they courted multiple Bond girls to be Sister Hyde, including Carolyn Munro, who would eventually go on to be in The Spy Who Loved Me. But Martine Beswick, who had been in 2 Bond films at that point, 2 of the best ones, Thunderball and From Russia with Love, which is one of the best, thought it was super fucking stupid, thought it was absolutely a joke, but then met with Roy Ward Baker, who had directed some of Hammer's best films, and who was a very established director in his own right before Hammer even got into the genre department. He directed maybe the best Titanic movie in the 1940s, A Night to Remember, which is incredible. He also directed one of my other favorite Hammer films, Quatermass in the Pit.
Quatermass, yeah.
There's
and a lot of, what's it called? Not Amicus.
Amicus films. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, his stuff is great.
And this movie looks beautiful. It's very well directed.
The visual language of this film is incredible. So the script is what got her to sign on, because she thought it was a dumb bit, and then she read it and realized, oh, no, they're actually, like, taking this idea seriously, and because just doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is not enough for one Hammer film circa 1971, we also get Jack the Ripper and the Whitechapel murders happening.
Yep.
As
also
part of the plot.
The murders of Burke and Hare, which were famous murders.
And it all gets boiled together into one murky gender stew that is a delight.
Well, I want to talk to you about that. My sense of this, and tell me if you agree or disagree, is that it's sort of like accidentally a trans-affirmative movie, because it feels like what they're actually going for is exploitation. Like when you read that poster copy, they're trying to be like titillating and provocative with the gender stuff. But I don't know to what degree they're like aware that they're making this incredibly trans-affirmative movie.
They weren't thinking at all. They literally were just gunning so fast to get something out for drive-ins and for UK audiences. And they just leaned on the title as a pun, as like a jumping off point, as an excuse not to explore gender, but as an excuse to fill up the Hammer quota of like cleavage and blood. So let's get more ladies in there. What if Mr. Hyde's a woman and is killing people? Then that's more ladies on the screen and more violence. Cool. But it inadvertently she becomes the main character through a very like empathetic screenplay and through Martine Beswick's incredible performance. She is the MVP of this movie. We get a lot of Ralph Bates at the top, who was kind of like Hammer.
He's very good in this.
He's good, and Hammer was really trying to make him the new Christopher Lee. He was in a few of the other Dracula films and a few of the other tentpole horror films of theirs at the time.
Yeah,
and he's fine in this. He gave an interview after the fact saying that he thought this movie was too watered down and they were playing it too safe, and that if Hammer really wanted to go full bore, they would have just let him do drag. And I was like, no, shut up. Shut up.
Yeah.
You're wrong. You're a fucking idiot, dude. Martine Bestwick said in an interview that she did recently, this movie was hard to find for a long time, and then Scream Factory put it out just a few years ago on Blu-ray, and they did some new interviews for it, which is awesome. She said that while they were working on the film, she got very into the character, started doing a lot of research into queer culture, and went to Roy Ward Baker and was like, there's a lot more that we could be exploring here in the script. There could be a lot more to this character. And he was like, honey, we're making an exploitation movie. Shut up. Like, we're going to cover that girl's boobs and blood, and we're going to move on to the next scene.
Yeah.
And she said in interviews since then that she's like really proud of this movie, but also wishes she could have done more with the character. And like,
she does a lot with it as it is, though. I mean, she
Yeah.
plays it like a vampire, kind of. She plays Edwina Hyde.
and the character is very much a vampire.
Totally. Like, she is giving Daughters of Darkness. She's giving The Hunger.
She
She's
only wears
giving-
red and black.
Yeah. And the aesthetic of this movie is very good. It's like very Sweeney Todd. It's Victorian London on the east side. So lots of fog, lots of cobblestone, lots of like little Keystone cops and sex workers that are like, hello, governor.
What's all we said? So Josh, what would you say the plot of this movie is?
Oh boy, yeah, we're a little late on the synopsis, I guess. So we all know the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We're getting a version of that. But in this, Dr. Jekyll is a young, handsome man of 30 named, what's his first name? Do you remember?
Henry
It doesn't
Jekyll.
matter. Henry Jekyll.
H. Jekyll,
And-
MD.
He's obsessed with curing diseases. And he has an slightly older, very lecherous friend named Professor Robertson who comes to visit and says, like, all of these cures of yours, they take too long. And he's sort of teasing him about it. But that causes Dr. Jekyll to become obsessed with creating the elixir of life. which is-
Immortality. He needs to find
Immortality in a
immortality so
bottle.
he can
which
stop death.
He yes, which he decides what he should do is start with the hormones of women because they have stronger systems and last longer than men. So he begins to experiment with female hormones.
Which we get a great line reading from Ralph Bates, very impassioned, saying, hormones! Female hormones! It's the secret to everlasting life! Female hormones! I don't disagree with him.
No, exactly. Very quickly, the idea of immortality goes away because what he discovers is that when he drinks this elixir, he becomes a woman. Meanwhile, upstairs, he has some adult siblings, a man and a woman. The man is Howard. The woman is Susan. And Susan has a little crush on Dr. Jekyll, and that becomes complicated. And Howard has a little crush on Sister Hyde, and that's complicated too. And obviously, Dr. Jekyll needs female bodies to do these experiments. So he hires these two disgusting men named Burke and Hare that are based on famous Victorian murderers. When they are out of the picture, he has to do the murders himself. And gradually, Sister Hyde is taking over. And while Dr. Jekyll really hates what he's having to do, Sister Hyde really is relishing in it. And it all comes to a head. That's it, right?
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
The ending is very much a 1971 exploitation film ending. We're like, we need to wrap it up. We need to be done now.
Well, it also implies, like, after saying all these, like, cool feminist things, whether by accident or not, it's like, finally... So he's literally hanging from a roof, and he starts to transform into Sister Hyde. And I think it's implying that he dies because
she's not
his
as strong
weak
as him.
Woman arms can't hold him up anymore, and so she falls to her death, and she's like sort of
and
half
people
man, half woman
think
on the ground.
that trans women shouldn't play in sports. Clearly, this movie proves that trans women are not as strong as cisgender men.
Yeah.
One of my favorite aspects of this movie, that again, like I didn't see this movie in full until college, so I didn't get to this portion of the film. Which is insane considering that I, again, like as a vampire fetishist and freak and like raised on Bram Stoker and Dracula and shit like that. The plot of this movie is that the way in which she turns into Sister Hyde is that she has to like have a steady diet of this elixir of life made from fresh female hormones which means that either Dr. Jekyll or Sister Hyde has to go out and murder sex workers and then like rip out their hormonal glands from their brain.
Yeah.
And like distill it down into a drinkable elixir like a fucking vampire. She's a hormonal vampire. It's incredible. But at a certain point, she doesn't need the elixir anymore to transform. She just sees the color red or sees one of her dresses and just already like, oh, the hand is softer now. It's Martine Beswick's hand. And it's great. And after a while, she starts taking over and she becomes the dominant personality. And it's implied that she was always the dominant personality.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, this is important plot-wise, that Dr. Jekyll is Jack the Ripper in this.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
These sex worker murders are the Whitechapel murders, or other murders of Jack the Ripper.
So this movie is retconning and recontextualize the Whitechapel murders as being like, what if they were just a random misogynistic homicide? What if they were transgender hormonal vampire homicide? Do you feel different about them now?
Well, it's really clever because the movie also uses the murders of Burke and Hare, who in the Victorian era were murdering sex workers to give their bodies to science for money. And that made the British government say, like, oh, we need to come up with a mechanism for providing corpses to scientists that's not murder. You know what I mean? So literally, they're just named Burke and Hare in this. They're the ones who get Dr. Jekyll the bodies in the beginning. So they really do kind of incorporate a lot of different elements in a way that feels put together. And
it's not willy-nilly either. It they weave together beautifully. It kind of reminds me of Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise, which is like, we're doing a riff on Phantom of the Opera. This is doing a riff on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But also with Phantom of the Paradise, okay, cool. That's not enough. A glam rock version of Phantom of the Opera. Let's also throw in Faust. Let's also throw in, Touch of Evil. Let's also throw in, all of these other, Gothic elements and illusions to, beef up the weight of the story.
It's what Ryan Murphy tries to do with American Horror Story.
He wishes.
Let's take he never lands it, but it's let's take all of these aesthetic choices and try to combine them, synthesize them into one new story. It's a collage, really.
Yeah.
Pastiche. And it just he doesn't nail it, but they really nail it here.
One of the things that works so well about Sister Hyde and the way that they blend, again, the blending genre, blending gender, it's fucking great. The way that they incorporate the Whitechapel murders and Burke and Hare into the Dr. Jekyll formula. We start with, in very classic film noir fashion, we start in media res with a scene from the end of the film, and then immediately get to Dr. Jekyll writing in his diary to be like, here's what happened. Here's the full story. And at the very in that flash forward, we see a blind organ grinder who is suspicious of the murders, and then we get into the plot of the movie, and we jump back to the beginning, and we get the Whitechapel murders. We meet Burke and Hare, and then as the murders continue, we keep seeing this blind organ grinder going around getting suspicious of the murders, and it's not until the end of the movie that it's revealed that the blind organ grinder was Hare, because they didn't kill him, they just threw him in a vat of lye and burned his eyeballs out.
Yeah.
And that's the way that Dr. Jekyll gets caught, because Hare recognizes him and recognizes the method of murder and the method of removing the brain.
This movie really is a reminder, too, about, we tend to think of British society in Victorian England, but it was really brutal for the poor. I mean, the lives of the sex workers here are really short and brutal. No one cares really that they're being murdered. Burke and Hare, when they're discovered, are basically destroyed by a mob. Burke is lynched, and Hare is thrown into a pit of lime, which blinds him. It's pretty brutal. It's not stuffy England.
No. And this movie has flashes of stuffy England, but they don't last very long. And they're
No.
always underscored by something more sinister going on. Or, like, a bumbling cop who's very much an alcoholic and, like, can't do his job right. And the one doctor who might be able to catch Dr. Jekyll, if he wasn't such a fucking lecherous pervert.
He's so horny, that man. This movie's very horny.
This movie's incredibly horny. Let's be honest. This movie has a murder set piece in which Dr. Jekyll undoes a sex worker's corset by slicing off the ties with a dagger, and then proceeds to stab her. And the shot composition, the shot structure in that sequence is incredible. The blood spray in this movie is like top notch. This movie's upsettingly horny and upsettingly gorgeous. The cinematography is great. It is so suffused in fog the entire time. There's so many great scenes of people walking down foggy cobblestone British alleyways,
like
being backlit.
Yeah.
It looks, I was watching this with a friend last night who had never seen it before. And we just kept being like, it's so insane how this movie was made in 1971, and 15 years after this, every music video at MTV would look like this.
Totally.
All the fog and the atmosphere. It's very soft filtered.
There is a very new wave aesthetic to this, actually, like early 80s new wave, which I guess makes sense because they were called the New Romantics, and they a lot of times were referencing Victorian England.
I mean, but like half the time you expect Adam Ant to run in and shout, "Stand and deliver!" Like,
absolutely. The whole thing has a very like ABC aesthetic. Even the design of Sister Hyde's costume is very early 80s new. She's got this beautiful bright red gown, which you can imagine in the white London fog is gorgeous. But then she's also got this like top hat kind of thing, which kind of looks like a mohawk in a lot of shots, or like a tall sort of punk hairdo. It's very reminiscent of like the great lesbian vampire movies, even though this isn't that.
Even when Dr. Jekyll is performing his murders, he's walking through the streets of Whitechapel with like a nice cloak that just comes down to about his waist with a golden clasp at his neck and a nice tall top hat. And he looks like Gary Oldman in Coppola's Dracula. He looks like every incarnation of Dracula.
Well, that's the funny thing about the posters for the Whitechapel Murderer, too, in this. They're like, he's wearing a top hat and a dark cloak. And it's like, that's literally every gentleman in Victorian England.
And as soon as they put those posters up, he immediately burns his clothes, and Susan, his upstairs neighbor, comes down. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm burning some old clothes."
Yeah.
And she...
It'd be like... If one of the posters now were like, he was wearing jeans and a shirt. You know, I'd be like, okay, great.
Yes, the Silver Lake Murderer. He had a mustache. Yeah. He had a vintage band t-shirt.
He was wearing a Joy Division shirt. He wore glasses.
And he was wearing pants that were just a few sizes too big for him.
Yeah.
He was driving a 1980s Mercedes.
Describes every man under the age of 30 plus.
He was seen walking out of a Chipotle and into a Starbucks. Has anyone seen this man? Yeah, so you know what? As much as I don't condone murder, as much as I don't condone violence against sex workers, Sister Hyde did nothing wrong. She is a delightful lady. She deserves nothing but love, care, and support.
She's making do. She's making do.
She's having a good time. She's seducing a brother and a sister. She's got a lot on her plate.
Yeah, she's just pulling a Dr. Frankenfurter in her own apartment building.
Yeah, this movie predates Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
By a bit. As I kind of mentioned a little bit at the top of the show, one of my favorite trans films of all time is Myra Breckenridge, starring Raquel Welch. She came out the year before this. And Raquel Welch and Martine Bestwick had both starred in Hammer's 2000 Years BC, a few years before. And I'm just so fascinated with... There's a little blip in time in which trans exploitation films were made in the early 1970s. We get Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which is kind of a trans mask exploitation film. We get Myra Breckenridge. We get Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. We get Bob Clark's She-Man, A Story of Fixation, which is so much more sympathetic than the title would suggest.
Yeah.
We get...
Come back to the Five in Time, Jimmy Dean.
Which is much more of like an arty play adaptation, but it still approaches a trans character with more like respect and compassion than most trans films for the next 30 years would. And then one of my favorites, which is a British film called I Want What I Want.
That's a great title.
It's a great film, and it plays like a 1970s version of Now Voyager. And it's so tender. And the thing that all of these movies have in common is that they are sympathetic towards the trans characters, whether they are horror films and these characters are villains or not. And every single one of them is played by a cis performer, yes. However, they're always a cis performer of that trans character's actual gender. It's not the fucking contemporary bullshit Jared Leto, Eddie Redmayne fucking piece of shit casting. It is Sister Hyde is a woman. It's not going to be Ralph Bates in drag, you idiot Ralph Bates. It's going to be Martine Bestwick.
That could be done poorly too. I mean,
it can be done poorly, but
I'll never stop thinking about Felicity Huffman in Trans America.
That movie's trash.
She plays that character like they're developmentally disabled. Do you know what I mean? It's so wild. But like, who would make the choice to put on the deep voice? It just is baffling. Anyway.
Oh my god, it's so upsetting. But so little was known and discussed about trans individuals. And I was having a conversation with a friend very recently because we just went to go see Belle de Jour in theaters because they're doing a Buñuel retrospective at the American Cinematheque, which I highly recommend that you go to. But we were talking about the way that kink was presented in 1960s films, and in Belle de Jour specifically, in a way that's very, like, neutral, in a way that's very, like, kind and, like, non-judgmental. Whereas now, when you think of kink in movies, it's always an excuse for men to be shitty. It's the 50 Shades of Grey awful shit. It's less from the perspective of a woman's desire. It's less from a perspective of like what actual kink play looks like. It's less about like consent and like it's so like there's a certain naivete to some of these topics and subjects that lent more sympathy to them that I find really fascinating.
It's also, I mean, sometimes I was talking to BJ Colangelo, former guest, about this in regards to the movie Dog Day Afternoon, which is a movie that I love very much. We've talked about it, and that's a trans story to a large extent, too.
It's based on a true story about an actual trans woman and her ex-partner.
Yeah, and however you feel about how it's handled in that movie, the same movie could not have been made at all 10 years later or 20 years later.
Yeah.
Maybe could today, but people don't understand. People think that progress is linear, and especially people who are very young, it's hard for them to understand that in many ways, the 1970s were more progressive than the times that we live in. Not in all ways, but in some ways.
Yeah.
And film is one of those ways. I mean, it was just such an incredibly progressive time for film. And in some ways, to our eye, they got things backwards or things were handled clumsily, but they were there. And, 10 years later in the 80s, nothing like that was getting made. It was a very conservative time. So never think that progress is linear. Don't assume that progress is coming. You have to make it come. That's all I guess.
Nothing is linear, first of all. Time is fake. Yeah. It's all an illusion, whatever. But there's a specific little nugget of trans films that are like, some are exploitation, some are melodramatic, some are cheese, some are schlock. And some are, like, really earnest, trying to, like, tackle the subject matter that is very new to the world, to a lot of people's eyes, despite the fact that it's incredibly old. And there's just something beautiful about... Especially if you think about, like, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde being a British film, there's no way it would be made today. Because the amount of British turfs and, like... It would be the J.K. Rowling, like, oh my god, look at that awful man in a dress murdering women so that he can pretend to be a woman. That's Buffalo Bill. I mean, like, literally.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different dichotomy. And in such a more sympathetic, nuanced, beautiful way. And it's all spurred by, like, Raquel Welch thinking that Myra Breckenridge is a great character, is, like, a good, like, person to portray as, like, a person first and not a trans person first, not this caricature of their understanding of an identity first. Martine Bestwick just thinking this is, like, a good character that she thinks there's a lot more depth to, that, like, there's a lot more, like, pain and understanding to this trans character that she wanted to put in there. Like, the fact that I Want What I Want, which is from, I think, 1972, and was, like, basically a television movie in England, is more sympathetic and more accurate to trans experience, even though it has a lot that's very, like, surgery dependent at a certain point.
Yeah.
Than The Danish Girl or anything fucking like that, is insane. We fucked, I mean, like, the 1980s and Reagan, like, fucked us up real bad, real hard.
Yes, really bad.
But, like, going from these movies, which are so curious and so sympathetic, even into the 1990s, when the concept of a trans person's existence was just an immediate butt of jokes on what's perceived as being the most wholesome shows at the time, of, like, Frasier and The Simpsons and the most PG
Friends.
things. They just, Friends especially, oh my god. Which they tried to retcon to be sympathetic and only made it worse. And yeah, the compassion and the ambiguity of the 70s trans films are something that, like, we'll never see again. Ever. Because the world has changed so much, for better or worse, in terms of depicting trans people on screen. We'll never have a film like Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde again. Even if Sister Hyde was played by a trans woman, which that would be great. I would love to see that. We'll never get a film in which we have a trans Jack the Ripper murdering people in Whitechapel to sustain herself on estrogen from the brains of sex workers. We'll never have that again. And that's the insane high camp, while also being grounded by, like, genuine emotional responses. That is some of my favorite things in cinema, and some of the favorite things that cinema can do in such a grand guignol setting as, you know, 1970s horror. And that's sad. I wish we could have that, because that is such a fun entryway into these topics, while also delivering such strong, empathetic stories about such incredible characters. And that shit's more powerful than a million Oscar bait tearjerk films that have nothing to say.
Well, like all good things, it seems like it was so special because it happened by accident, you know? You know, in some ways they're very naive films, but they're genuinely curious and come from a place of openness, and you can feel that. You don't feel malice.
Yeah.
You
don't feel like you're being preached at. You're not told to feel a certain way about these characters, for better or worse. And you kind of take them at face value, because, like, okay, yeah, Sister Hyde's murdering people, but so is Dr. Jekyll. And his feel a lot creepier than hers. It's also interesting to note that this movie gives us much more detail and depictions of Dr. Jekyll murdering these women than it does Sister Hyde murdering these women. Whenever she commits a murder, the camera kind of, like, lingers back, doesn't show it until immediately afterwards, or maybe a few insert shots. Meanwhile, when he murders someone, we get a lot of shots of him, like, coming around the woman, a lot of shots of him on top of the woman, a lot of shots of him, like, in the middle of murdering someone. It's very curious that we don't get that when she takes her blade out. Her blade that she keeps in her ankle boot, hidden under her red dress, which is one of the sexiest reveals ever.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Well, listen, let's pivot to Have They Seen It, the game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen the feature. I have somebody in mind. I've only seen one James Bond movie in my entire life, and I saw it for this James Bond girl. Do you think that Grace Jones, star of A View to a Kill, has seen Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
God, I hope so. I love Grace Jones
Of
so
course.
freaking much. I can't really imagine the context in which she would watch this. I don't feel like Grace Jones watches a lot of horror movies. But I feel like she hasn't seen it.
Okay.
However, yeah, I feel like she'd be into it. I feel like she would enjoy it. I feel like she would find a lot of camp to enjoy in that. I don't know. What
I
about
just
you?
thought of her because right before this call, I saw a photo of her. I guess she was filming A View to a Kill at the same studio and time that Tim Curry was shooting Ridley Scott's Legend, in which he played the devil. So there's all these photos of them like on the lot together smoking cigarettes, and he's in his like giant elaborate devil costume. It just, I was like, oh, she would probably like this movie. I think she would respond to the aesthetic of the movie.
I think she would too, and I think she would love Martine Beswick's performance. I think she would very much be on board.
In another time and place, it could have been Grace Jones playing that role, honestly. I mean, it's the same kind of like regal glamour.
I mean, we did get Grace Jones in Vamp in 1988,
For sure.
which is
Yeah, it's
the
very
closest
similar.
we'll ever get to that. It's a very, oh my God, that movie's incredible.
Love that movie.
Well, as long as we're talking about Bond girls in regards to Martine Beswick's past, there is a trans Bond girl. Fun fact.
Oh.
And it was a big deal. There was a British model who was one of many Bond girls in the 1981 Roger Moore fair For Your Eyes Only, who was closeted and a very successful model, and being in this Bond film, tabloid press outed her. And it was a big deal.
I had no idea.
And it was treated as like super gross, like James Bond trivia in the worst way for a long time in the early 2000s. But like,
what's her name?
Her name is Caroline Cossey. She is fucking incredible. She also eventually sued in the 90s. She sued to be able to marry her partner. And doing so helped open the door for gay marriage in England.
Wow, she's gorge.
She's incredible. So, do you think that Caroline Cossey has ever seen Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde?
I'm looking at photos of her now. I felt like I needed to see a photo or two to have a psychic punch to the gut about whether she had or hasn't. And I think she has.
Yeah.
I feel like the media has made her like an expert on all things trans, whether she wanted to be or not.
And she kind of is.
Yeah. I'm going to say, yeah. Oh my God, there's a weird photo from the Mirror that, the British trash daily paper that puts her in the same photo as Caitlyn Jenner. Typical. I would say yes. My guess is yes.
Yeah, I feel like she probably would have seen it in 1971 when it came out, and probably would have loved it at the time, and probably like still enjoys it to this day.
And if not, she definitely Googled like trans films or something at some point.
Yeah, she is fucking incredible and one of the most beautiful women in the world, and one of the most like intelligent, like undervalued trans icons of the 1980s and 90s. Not enough people talk about how amazing she is.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, I love her so much. I think she would totally dig this movie, and I wish that we got a world in which she was in the 1990s remake of this instead of the piece of shit Sean Young movie we got instead. Man, Sean Young playing upsetting trans characters in the 1990s in bad comedies is a really shitty cinematic universe.
Do you think that Christopher Lee has seen this?
Ooh, you know what? He had a very odd relationship with Hammer at this time. I hope.
Did he?
because he kind of didn't want to keep doing Dracula, and they kept being like, "Oh, but we already sold the movie on you being in it. So if you don't do it, then all of these crew members that you know are going to be out of work." So,
so he's like being blackmailed into being in movies.
Yeah, that happened a few times. It's kind of shitty. I don't know if he ever saw this, but my gut wants to say that he did see it at some point. He was like friends with David Del Val later in his life by like the 80s and 90s. I feel like Del Val would have had a VHS tape and watched it with him. I feel like Christopher Lee would have a lot of fun. Honestly, I feel like Christopher Lee would have watched this movie and then been upset that he couldn't have played the other doctor in this that like is trying to figure out what Jekyll is up to. Yeah. I feel like he would have been like, I would have had fun doing that. Come on. I could have been murdered by Sister Hyde. God damn it. I mean,
yeah, I think you're right.
I feel like you'd dig it.
Yeah.
Well, since you mentioned a genuine trans villain in the real world, who is an actual monster, do you think that Caitlyn Jenner has ever seen Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde?
No way.
Fuck no.
I don't think Caitlyn Jenner has ever seen a cool movie in her life. Even having been in Can't Stop the Music, a movie that I love, I don't think she saw that movie that she was in. I think she's somebody who sees Pixar movies, and that's it.
She gives me the vibe that like her favorite movies are The Incredibles and Red Dawn.
Yeah, totally. Or she's like really into like baby boomer music biopics, some of which are fine, of course, but she's probably like really into Rocket Man and things like that.
Oh, she probably... No, I could see her leaving Rocket Man and being like, it's too faggy. What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't like Elton John. He was too weird.
He's too gay. My God.
There's no way she's seen this. She's never seen any cool movies.
No. Oh, fuck no. Oh my God. She loves Michael Bay's Armageddon. Like, totally. She doesn't want to miss a thing.
Do you think that she's even seen, like, the Rocky Horror Picture Show or anything that's as 101 as that?
I feel like one of the Kardashian children at some point has been like, let's watch this thing. Like, I feel like after she came out, they were like, let's be supportive and we'll watch Rocky Horror together. And I feel like she was, like, not into it. I feel like...
This is so weird.
This is so weird. This Tim Curry thing is offensive to me. I don't like this. I was recently asked by someone if when they found out that I was having surgery recently, and my surgeon is named Dr. Lay. She's a trans surgeon. She is incredible. And when I mentioned that I was seeing Dr. Lay, someone was like, "Oh, you're seeing Dr. Lee? He's incredible." And I was like, "No, Dr. Lay." And I like Googled who Dr. Lee was, and it was like, "Oh, he did Caitlyn Jenner." Oh. No, I'll pass. No, thank you.
Yeah.
He's I recently saw that Gia Gunn was scheduled to have surgery with him very recently, and I'm like, why do all the evil trans girls go to the same guy? What does this say?
Evil?
Gia Gunn's very evil. Are you kidding me?
I didn't know.
She was super anti-vaccination, super anti-mask, very like COVID's fake.
All I know is her performance on Drag Race, which she was a mean girl on Drag Race, but there is a great gif of her that I use all the time, which she's just like shrugging and she's saying, well, I guess there's room for everybody in this sarcastic way. It's like whenever a friend tells me like, oh, I'm bringing this other friend that you don't like, that's when I'm like, well, I guess there's room for everybody. Mm-hmm. That's all.
I did a lot of work in like 2016, 2017 with Gia and Laganja. I don't like Gia. And she has made herself very publicly known that she does not like a lot of trans people and that she does not believe in COVID and that she got COVID.
Yikes.
She thought it was a hoax, told people not to get vaccinated and like to not wear masks and like, I'm not a fan. So, yeah, to those asking, I will not be going to the same surgeon as Gia Gunn and Caitlyn Jenner. I've got a cooler, awesome trans lady surgeon who's going to do me good.
Well, I guess with that, we send you off with love and fingers crossed. And we are so excited for you. And I'm saying like we as if it's anybody other than me, but it's the listeners too. I'm including the listeners. We love you. We're excited for you. And we can't wait to see you on the other side. thank you so much for listening to this episode of Bloodhouse. If you liked it, please rate it on Apple and Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. Drusilla, where can people find you?
You can find me at sisterhydedesign.com because I love this stupid movie so much. Or on Instagram at Hyde Sister. And by the time this episode comes out, I will definitely be back in Los Angeles, and I will be nice and rested and healed and probably ready to be back to recording more episodes of Bloodhouse. But until then, thank you all so much for listening. This has been a fucking hoot and a half, and I'm very excited to go get hotter and have fresh episodes of Bloodhouse that my voice isn't on. That I can finally listen to. Josh, what about you? Where can people find you out in the world?
Me, I'm at Joshua Conkle on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Although, sans Drusilla. Womp womp.